Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's edition of the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting here live from NGC Studios here in South Florida, and I want to thank you so very much for joining me. As always, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @SMDB_NGC, hashtag Whitfield Report. Follow me on Gab, Parler, and Minds at Sam Whitfield. thesamwhitfield.com for all your info on me and columns and blogs and whatnot. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever else you get your podcasts, and please leave a 5-star rating and review there. You can support the show via Streamlabs, TTS if you'd like to, streamlabs.com/Whitfield Report. And as always, thank you to Bruce City, Fat Kick Boy, and Saucin for being the top supporters on Patreon. I've been cooking up some stuff over there that I will post very soon, since it is the month of June. So much appreciated to all the Patreon supporters. And on deck, we just have a mint condition chicken for right now in chat. But I see you guys. There are some other lurkers here, so thank you to all of you. And folks, let's just get right down to it, okay? Fauci lied and people died. And that may seem like, oh, he's just saying that because he wants an edgy title and whatnot. And granted, titles like that, often do get traction and they lure people in. But isn't it great when they're also true? I think so. So we're going to be getting into that a bit, the whole Fauci email, since people have been asking me all about that. We're also going to be getting on into some new Owen Benjamin stuff later on, and I promise you this is actually relevant since Owen has been in the news. I've been moving away from Owen for a while now, but this actually is relevant and newsworthy, so Apex will be on later to talk about that. But first off, I'm going to crack this beer. And thank God that didn't explode. And take the first sip, as Scott Adams says. And I am drinking a Kona Longboard Lager from the Kona Brewery out of Hawaii. So shout out to them. Not a sponsor of the show. I just really like their beer. And before we get too thick into the weeds, I do want to address something that people have been asking me about, which is, Sam, what do you think of all this talk? They're talking about aliens and UFOs, and the government is saying that the aliens are, they're real, Sammy, they're real. Aliens are for real, And so, what do you think? And, folks, I've never really talked about aliens on this podcast. I do realize that there is kind of a whole subgenre of extraterrestrial podcasts, and they're fun to listen to, and some of them are entertaining, but I've never really been into that whole thing. My whole take on the existence of extraterrestrials is simply this, and I haven't talked about this on the show in years, mostly because I see no reason to. But since it's been a while, I will just briefly go over my take on extraterrestrials, which is this. I'm not super into aliens, but do I think they exist? Well, I believe in God. I certainly believe that there is a higher power out there. And who am I to say that God, in his infinite wisdom, hasn't created life out there in the universe and in the cosmos? Who am I to say that we're alone, or that we're even the most powerful or intelligent being out there? I definitely think it's plausible that there are extraterrestrials out there. But am I going to obsess over it? Am I going to dedicate my waking moments to it? No. It's certainly plausible, but, mostly I just think it's fun to bring up, kind of like, well, what if they did exist? It's fun to talk aliens when you're getting stoned with your friends or when you're at a party, but I don't take it too seriously. And, I've never really understood the people that do. But here's my take on the whole, recent news with the aliens and whatnot. Regardless of whether or not it's true, it seems mighty convenient that the government and former President Barack Obama and all of these people, now all of a sudden aliens are the big, thing, right? It's the big narrative now, and to me it seems like the media and the politicians want us to now obsess over aliens. They're dangling aliens in front of our faces like a carrot, so we'll get distracted by the carrot and not pay attention to what they're doing. This all comes in light of the whole Fauci email thing too, which I don't really want to gloat here, folks, but I'm going to. We were right about Fauci, and we were right about China, it seems like, so we're vindicated. And when I mean we, I don't mean just the Whitfield report. I mean Rush Limbaugh, Semper. And I bet that's something that I bet Semper didn't anticipate being wedged into the same sentence as Rush, but there you go. Basically, anyone who is kind of on the not even the right sphere, but more or less kind of in the in the distrust of the government area of the media, let's just say. We were all right collectively about Fauci and now China. It does seem that this thing has very strong connections to China, as I will read this article here in a sec. Took me a bit to find, but yeah, we have been vindicated on Fauci as a whole. So let me pull this up real quick, and let's see. Alrighty. And okay. There we are. Alrighty, so and that's the front page. That's my website for those of you viewing this on the on YouTube. But now let's go over here. So, headline from WashingtonWatch.org. Breaking. Fauci emails get leaked. This is devastating. So this is from Big League Politics, a trench of hundreds of emails released through the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA, shows Dr. Anthony Fauci talking with globalist elites throughout the initial stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. Again, we told you so. One exchange revealed in the emails was a correspondence between Fauci and Dr. Margaret Lau. Lau advises herself as Lau advertises herself, as the mother of DNA vaccines, and she applauded Fauci's work as head of National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Disease, or NIAID, in cleaning regulatory barriers for DNA vaccines to be widely distributed among the public. So, again, this is another narrative. Oh, the DNA vaccines weren't planned, Sam. Oh, you and Apex, you and that Apex Gamma guy, that stoner, you guys are just crazy conspiracy theorists. Nope, we were right on this one, folks. Quote, wonderful articles and JAMA and Knee Jam. So glad you are still heading NIAID. It is comforting that there are experts of your caliber still in the room. And thrilled that the NIAID has done so much to develop rapid timelines for DNA vaccines, and that you highlighted the progress in the article. Lau wrote to Fauci. Or Lou. Is it Lou or Lau? I'm not really sure which. I'm just gonna go with Lau. It's Chinese lady. What do you expect? I'm not a linguistics expert here, ladies and gentlemen. Lau continued to whine on about racism because of the origins of the COVID-19 virus. She wanted to make sure that China did not receive its rightful blame for its plague that doomed world freedom. Why in the Gem article was it necessary to state that the first travel-related case to U.S. was a Chinese man, italics mine, who had recently visited Wuhan? Did his being Chinese, either ethnically or by citizenship, affect anything biologically? Lou asked. I ask because not only have many Asian people now encountered racism in public places due to fear that any Asian person is a source of COVID-19, but now that the president is turning the epidemic into additional fear-mongering about borders, it seems all the more important that scientists do not inadvertently add to xenophobia, even though non-white skin does not mean a person is foreign, and do not seem to advance any political perspective, she added. Okay, pause. So, when exactly was anyone saying that Chinese people specifically were just out and out bringing this over? When? Do you remember anyone saying that, like, Chinese people are solely responsible for this, or Asians or whatnot. No. What Trump said specifically was that this looked to be in a bio lab that originated from China, and it seemed obviously suspicious. By the way, so did Panetta, the CIA director. He was saying that too early on. So this is another race card that people are just pulling out of their ass, or that they were early on. Yeah, Asian hate my ass. Let's see. The full email can be seen here. Big League Politics has reported on the dangerous experimental mRNA vaccines produced by pharmaceutical giants, backstopped by special liability waivers. Again, that means, ladies and gentlemen, that you cannot sue the vaccines if you or someone else gets sick from the vaccines, and God forbid, even if your family members, friends die from the vaccines, too bad. You cannot sue them. They are not liable. Which, geez, that is all the more comforting to know that if you die, oh well, technically the vaccine companies aren't responsible. That's just lovely, ain't it, folks? Of course it is. The Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness, or PrEP Act, of course the government is going to come up with an acronym like that, allows the Department of Health and Human Services to provide liability immunity for certain medical countermeasures, such as the vaccine, except in cases of willful misconduct. Which, okay, let's say, for example, that is the case. Because let's be super cynical here, folks, and say that let's just, for a minute here, let's just put on our super, conspiracy hats. Let's put the tinfoil hats on fully. And just say for a sec that all of the vaccines, that they're administering, let's just say it's population control, right? That would be willful misconduct. In which case, it would be extremely hard to prove legally, right? So willful misconduct, that is hard. That is really hard to prove in the case of these vaccine, companies, without sounding like an absolute nut job to most of the normies out there, right? So virtually, it's impossible to sue these people. According to CNBC, someone who develops severe side effects from a COVID-19 vaccine can neither sue the FDA for authorizing the vaccine, nor one's employer for mandating it. And although it is theoretically possible to receive money from the government to cover lost wages and out-of-pocket expenses following irreparable harm from a vaccine, only 29 claims, 6% of all claims, have received compensation over the past decade. In short, don't count on compensation for a COVID vaccine not gone wrong. And don't count on any of those. You may be entitled to financial compensation commercials for it either. Yeah, well, who really trusts those late night ads anyway? Seriously, does anyone at this point? I certainly don't. After the mRNA vaccines take their toll, Dr. Fauci and other Mendelian monsters in the scientific community will be pushing vaccines to permanently alter the DNA of recipients. Fauci and many others need to be tried for crimes against humanity before the technocracy becomes public. So again, this is from WashingtonWatch.org. So kind of an opinion column, but nevertheless very interesting. Let me go to the actual big league politics article here and see if there's really anything new or different here, shall we? And geez, guys, can you hyperlink your sources at least? Is that too much to ask? There we go. Alright, let's see if this article... Okay. Oh, it popped up this time. It didn't when I was initially there. Okay, so... this is interesting. So the article itself, is kind of the same thing, it seems like. But in this one, we actually have a receipt of the emails, which I'll read for you. So this is from Margaret Lau, or Lou, however you pronounce it. And this email is from February 29th, 2020, so last year. So she writes, Dear Tony, wonderful articles and JAMA and NEJM. So glad you will be heading NIAID. It is comforting that there are experts of your caliber still in the room, and thrilled that NIAID has done so much to develop timelines for the DNA vaccines that progress in the article. Since people call me the mother of DNA vaccines. Okay, so this is very interesting, folks. So this Chinese lady, Margaret Liu, or however you pronounce her name, publicly proclaims that people call her, or I guess kind of privately / publicly proclaims that people call her the mother of DNA vaccines. Yeah, that's not ominous at all, right, folks? As a former NIAID council member, I felt I should write to raise an issue that I'm sensitized to as a scientist who's ethnically Chinese, well, American. Why in the GEM article was it necessary to state that the first travel-related case to the U.S. was by a Chinese man, italics mine, who had visited Wuhan? Did his being Chinese, either ethnically or by citizenship, affect anything biologically? Well, no, lady. Essentially, it had nothing to do that he was Asian. It had everything to do with the fact that he visited Wuhan, the area where the virus came from, you dope. I ask because not only have many Asian people now encountered increased racism in public places, which again, when, folks? When were people going, hey, that Chinaman must be carrying COVID? I honestly can't remember any legit cases of that. Maybe there were a few jokes here and there. I don't know. But let me tell you something. I also live in Florida where people tend to kind of make, racist jokes like that more casually. And there wasn't any of that. So, maybe this was one of those microaggressions that the left talks about. So, yeah. So, again, they're going to make the vaccine, yet again, a race issue, right? So, and then pretty much everything that we just read in the other article. So it essentially came from big league politics. Okay. So this is not concerning at all, right? Let's see. Jeff is in the chat. Hello, Jeff. I haven't seen you in a long time. Ella, but Trump lied too, but yet the conservatives are ready for him to come back in August. Some people are. Again, that's QAnon, Jeff, which nobody believes QAnon, buddy. Nobody does. Trump even disavowed QAnon. Believe me, I more than anyone would love Trump to come back in August. Believe me, I would love that. But that's not going to be happening. It's just not. But yeah, was there any Asian hate that anyone saw because of the vaccine? Really? Not that I saw. I'm not saying that there couldn't have been incidences of that, but like I said, I live in Florida where people, of all ethnicities and whatnot, kind of tend to throw around racial slurs. In fact, like I was saying a few weeks ago, black Africans, like actual Africans, tend to be racist as fuck towards African Americans, especially here in Florida. That's kind of another ball of wax that I talked about a few weeks ago, but still, I'm not seeing all this Asian hate as a result of COVID-19. If anything, and this kind of is hilarious, the only thing that I really saw happen was people here in Florida and everywhere else in the country stopped buying Corona beer because for whatever reason they thought that the that the coronavirus was somehow connected to Corona beer. I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, the fact that like Fauci and this dragon lady were openly talking about DNA altering vaccines, that is the real story here, folks. When we were told, oh, there are no DNA altering vaccines, that's a conspiracy here. Well, we have the evidence. We have the evidence on Big League Politics, which is not really a conspiracy site at all. In fact, I would say Big League Politics is pretty mainstream. So, yeah. Whiskey in the chat, it says he switched to Corona Extra. Yeah, that's right. So he really wants to get Corona now. He, Whiskey, that black motherfucker, he not only wants COVID, he wants extra COVID now. Yeah, that's right. So, I'm not even in, folks. Whiskey, I don't think is actually black, but he's our black guy on the Whitfield Report. So, you know, that's what we've deemed him as here. We love him. But yeah, the Fauci man and the Dragon Lady are mRNA vaccines are a thing, folks, whether you like it or not. Alright, so more hot takes on the Fauci email. Let's see. Tucker had a good segment on Fauci and this whole COVID thing, so let me roll the tape with that. Now, I'm being nice. I'm just saying that Fauci is being a bit of a fool, but Tucker says that Fauci deserves to be under criminal investigation. And so, let me kind of play Tucker's take on this whole thing, and then let me give you my take on Fauci. Because, honestly, folks, this may surprise some of you, but I think I might very well be a little more generous with the Fauci here than most people are. And I'll explain why in a sec. But I'll let Fauci I'll let Tucker here play the bad cop first. So, this is from Tucker from June 2nd. Roll the tape.
Fraudulence of Tony Fauci is obvious now, and it's widely acknowledged, but it was not always obvious. In March of last year, we interviewed Fauci on this show. We treated him with respect. We took his answers seriously. We're Americans, so we assumed the man in charge of protecting the U.S. from COVID must be rational and impressive. We also assumed he must be honest. But we were wrong. It soon became clear that Tony Fauci was just another sleazy federal bureaucrat, deeply political and often dishonest. More shocking than that, we then learned that Fauci himself was implicated in the very pandemic he'd been charged with fighting. Fauci supported the grotesque and dangerous experiments that appeared to have made COVID possible. We came to these conclusions incrementally, spurred by evidence that accumulated over the course of a year. Tonight, we have the mother lode. Thanks to a Freedom of Information request from BuzzFeed, we have thousands of emails to and from Anthony Fauci. They go back to the early winter of 2020. Collectively, they show that from the beginning, Tony Fauci was worried that the public might conclude COVID had originated at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Now, why would Tony Fauci be concerned that Americans would conclude that? Possibly because Tony Fauci knew perfectly well that he had funded gain-of-function experiments at that very same laboratory. The emails prove that Fauci lied about this under oath. Consider this exchange, which began the evening of January 31st, 2020. It was a Friday just before midnight. The first email came from an immunologist called Christian Anderson, who works at the Scripps Research Institute in La Jolla, California. Anderson warned Fauci that COVID appeared to have been possibly manipulated in a laboratory. Quote, the unusual features of the virus make up a really small part of the genome, less than 0.1%. So one has to look really closely at all the sequences to see that some of the features potentially look engineered. The next day, on February 1st, Tony Fauci wrote back, thanks, Christian. Talk soon on the call. Fauci then sent an urgent email to his deputy, a man called Hugh Auchincloss. The subject of that email, in all caps, was important. Quote, Hugh, it is essential that we speak this AM. Keep your cell phone on. Read this paper as well as the email that I will forward. You will have tasks today that must be done. Attached to that email was a document. It was entitled, quote, Barrick, Shi et al., Nature Medicine, SARS Gain of Function .pdf. Now, the Barrick in the attachment referred to Ralph Barrick, a virologist based in the U.S. who collaborated with the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Barrick worked with a woman called Dr. Shi Shengli, known as the Bat Lady because she manipulates coronaviruses that infect bats. She was the she in the attachment. Now, keep in mind that during the questioning from Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky fairly recently, Tony Fauci denied that this same Ralph Barrick had conducted gain-of-function research. Again, this is the Ralph Barrick in Fauci's attachment, which was entitled Barrick, Shi et al., SARS Gain-of-Function .pdf. And yet, under oath before the United States Congress, Fauci denied this.
Dr. Barrett does not do gain-of-function research, and if it is, it's according to the guidelines, and it is being conducted in North Carolina. And if you look at the grant and you look at the progress reports, it is not gain-of-function, despite the fact that people tweet that.
Oh, it wasn't just on Twitter. It was in Fauci's own emails. In retrospect, that looks a lot like perjury. We do know that starting early last year, a lot of people at NIH were worried that COVID had not occurred naturally. They were concerned it had been instead manipulated in a lab in China. And yet they seemed determined to hide those facts from the public. Again, why? On the afternoon of February 1st last year, Fauci held a conference call with several top virologists. Most of the details of that call remained hidden from public view. They've been redacted. We know the call was related to a document entitled Coronavirus Sequence Comparison. Jeremy Farrar, a British physician who runs a major research nonprofit, reminded everyone on the call that what they said was top secret. Quote, information and discussion is shared in total confidence and not to be shared until agreement on next steps, end quote. In other emails, Jeremy Farrar passed along an article from the website Zero Hedge. That piece suggested the coronavirus might have been created as a bioweapon. We now know that is a more plausible explanation than the one we believed at first and were told by the media, which is that corona came from a pangolin. And yet for the crime of saying that out loud, a more plausible explanation, Zero Hedge was banned from social media platforms. Until recently, you were not allowed to suggest that COVID might be man-made. Why couldn't...
So, yeah, I want to pause there real quick, A, because of commentary purposes, but B, yeah, not only was Zero Hedge shut down, but basically any channel that was saying that China was responsible in any way, or that this was biologically, that this was a bioweapon, or my Facebook page for the Whitfield Report was temporarily shut down, ladies and gentlemen, because I linked a clip, one of the excerpt clips, in which I said that this coronavirus, showed up awfully conveniently during the presidential election, right? It was awfully convenient that this virus showed up just as the Trump economy was starting to kick ass and take names, and whatnot. Now, the video is still on YouTube, but my Facebook page got locked for, I believe 90 days. I basically lost control of the show's Facebook page during the election, which is no biggie because most of my audience, they don't go on Facebook, or I should say that the live audience doesn't, but the podcast audience does. So yeah, anyone who has basically talked shit about coronavirus has somehow been censored. Some have lost their YouTube channels entirely or been blacklisted off of other social media platforms. Which, speaking of, now might be a good time to bring on the official China expert / co-host of the Whitfield Report, Mr. Apex Gamma. How are you doing?
I was wholly unprepared for that. Hi, buddy. I'm good. How are you this evening?
Good. Wow,
So
you are roboting, my friend.
am I? Of course I am. Am I still roboting?
A little bit. It sounds like it kind of sounds cool, folks. We have
How about now?
a little bit, but
I'm showing all green bars here, man. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You sound like HAL 9000, or kind of like you've been assimilated by the Borg, but
All right.
technical difficulties here, folks. But we love our Gamma, don't we?
Bro, there's nothing. Everything's fine on my end. I don't understand.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I don't know.
well, go back to your show then. I'll leave. Good night, everybody. Thanks for having me on the show. Do a good show, Sam. I don't want to ruin it.
Okay.
You're doing great.
I'll bring Apex on later, maybe, because I do want to talk about some other stuff. But yeah, long story short, everyone has been, saying that this whole COVID thing is BS, and everyone who has been saying that has been censored by, big tech, or called crazy or something. And now that these emails have come out and are in the mainstream, oh, wouldn't you know it, the crazy people are right yet again. So, that's that. Alright, let's continue on here. Take it away, Tuck.
Suggest that? The fact checkers wouldn't allow it. Why wouldn't they? Because Tony Fauci assured the tech monopolies that the coronavirus could not have been man-made. And so the tech monopolies shut down the topic. Watch Fauci lie.
A group of highly qualified evolutionary virologists looked at the sequences there and the sequences in bats as they evolve. And the mutations that it took to get to the point where it is now is totally consistent with a jump of a species from an animal to a human.
That was April 17th, 2020, very shortly into the course of this pandemic. At that point, what Tony Fauci just asserted as known could not conclusively have been known. That was a lie. Tony Fauci suggested that he knew because top researchers had decided conclusively that this must have jumped naturally from an animal to a human being. But again, at that point, he could not have known that. That was dishonest. 2 days after he said that, one of the virologists that Tony Fauci had funded to conduct dangerous coronavirus experiments in Wuhan wrote to thank him for the help. That man, a man called Peter Daszak, complained to Fauci that the American tax dollars he'd taken for these experiments were being, quote, publicly targeted by Fox News reporters. Yet Daszak remained grateful for Tony Fauci's support. Quote, I just wanted to say a personal thank you on behalf of our staff and collaborators, end quote. Now, strangely, most of this specific email from Daszak to Fauci has been redacted, and it was redacted under FOIA Section B7A. That specific exemption to the FOIA law applies to, quote, records or information compiled for law enforcement purposes, but only to the extent that production of those documents could reasonably be expected to interfere with enforcement proceedings. Are Peter Daszak and Tony Fauci under criminal investigation? We can only hope they are. They certainly deserve it. At this point, we can't say for sure. We do know that Fauci hasn't simply lied about the origins of COVID, pretending to know things he could not know. He has also lied about vaccines in key ways. In March of last year, former Obama official Zeke Emanuel wrote to Fauci to ask a very simple question, one that we've asked countless times. Are people who have recovered from COVID generally immune from getting infected with COVID once again? That applies to about 100 million Americans, so it's not a small question. Fauci's response, quote, no evidence in this regard, but you would assume that there would be substantial immunity post-infection. Well, yes, you would assume that. We always have. And in fact, studies now show it is true. People who have had COVID and recovered almost never get sick again from COVID, so they don't need to be vaccinated. Yet to this day, Tony Fauci has never admitted that in public. In his email to Zeke Emanuel, he admitted something else that's also now obvious. Surgical masks, the paper kind all of us wear, don't really work. They offer very little protection from COVID. In fact, at least one study shows they may accelerate transmission of viruses. They are, in short, a form of make-believe. Yet once again, while under oath in public, Tony Fauci claimed precisely the opposite.
You're telling everybody to wear a mask, whether they've had an infection or a vaccine. What I'm saying is they have immunity, and everybody agrees they have immunity. What studies do you have that people that have had the vaccine or have had the infection are spreading the infection? If we're not spreading the infection, isn't it just theater?
No, it's
not.
not.
The vaccine and you're wearing 2 masks. Isn't that theater?
No, that's not. Here we go again with the theater. Let me just state for the record that masks are not theater. Masks are protective. And we
have immunity there, theater. If you already have immunity, you're wearing a mask to give comfort to others. You're not wearing a mask because of any sign.
I totally disagree with you.
Rand Paul is a physician. He's smart. What he just said was true, and the science shows that it's true. There's not much debate about it, actually, among honest people. But Tony Fauci claimed it wasn't true. He lied. Why would he do that? Well, here's one reason. The emails show that Tony Fauci speaks regularly to Bill Gates. That's odd. Bill Gates is not a doctor. Bill Gates is not a scientist. Bill Gates is a very rich man who made billions making mediocre software for office computers. So why would Tony
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. That was a burn if I've ever heard one. Oh, shit. I've got a... Oh, jeez, that was... Oh, man. Oh, my God. Oh, I've got to play that again. I did not see that coming.
Would he do that? Well, here's one reason. The emails show that Tony Fauci speaks regularly to Bill Gates. That's odd. Bill Gates is not a doctor. Bill Gates is not a scientist. Bill Gates is a very rich man who made billions making mediocre software for office computers. So why would
mediocre software for office computers? There you have it. I may have just gotten a little bit of a boner there. So,
Fauci be in such regular contact with Bill Gates? The term Bill Gates comes up more than 24 times when you search the Fauci email. Has Bill Gates profited in any way from Tony Fauci's COVID guidance? That would definitely be worth knowing immediately. And yet we don't know. Our media don't seem interested in finding out. In fact, here's how CNN covered the emails today. Quote, thousands of emails from and to Dr. Fauci revealed the weight that came with his role as a rare source of frank honesty within the Trump administration's COVID-19 task force. Can you imagine a more dishonest characterization of anything than that? It's hard to. By the way, what...
All right, so Larry Rapshot and Whiskey and everyone else wants me to basically translate the mumbo jumbo that Tucker just said, which I'm glad to do because while I like Tucker, he can be a bit wordy. And so I will do my thing and boil it down to the essentials of what Tucker said. So, Tildir, if you will, right? basically, Fauci told people that this wasn't from China after Trump said it was, after Mike Pompeo said it was too, after multiple national security advisors said that this thing had origin in China. Fauci said nope, it came from an animal. We know that that's not true. Fauci lied about the masks knowingly. You saw Senator Rand Paul shut him down. He was talking with mRNA experts via email, talking about DNA vaccines when he was saying that there was no such thing as DNA vaccines. That was all a bunch of conspiracy mumbo jumbo. Basically, everything that Fauci has said about COVID has been a bunch of bullshit, basically. That is the TWR of this. The whole TWR, if you will, is that Fauci lied and people died. Now, okay, some people think that this is because Fauci is maniacal and that he's an evil Bond villain and whatnot. Some people are saying that. I'm going to play the good cop on this. I'm not saying that Fauci is a good guy, but honestly, here's what I think happened. In my humble opinion. I honestly think, ladies and gentlemen, that Tony Fauci has been a bureaucrat for roughly the past 40 years, since the 1980s. And I think he's, been a worker bee for all his time, and he's sick of being kind of a nobody. I think that Trump kind of trotted him out, in front of the cameras, said that he was an expert in all this. At first he was saying there was no, reason to wear masks and whatnot, but then, he became the big pro-mask guy. Basically, I think, and this is just my opinion, folks, but I know people very well. If there's one thing I am more or less an expert on, I'm very observant in the way that people act. I'm pretty good at reading people. And so, in my somewhat expert opinion, I would say that Fauci got a taste of popularity and he got addicted to being in the spotlight, and the elites basically told him, hey, you can keep being the main star of this. You can keep being the hero of this whole thing. You'll be in Time magazine and whatnot. And he got addicted to the fame of this. He loves it and he doesn't want to give it up. Quite honestly, folks, he is a nerd that got exposure in the spotlight, and he loves it and he doesn't want to give it up. Now, hell, folks, he got put in People magazine. I'm not making this up. There was like a reporter or some op-ed person at People magazine who said that Tony Fauci is the sexiest man alive. I'm not kidding. He's gotten that title of sexiest man alive from some of these journalists. Which I mean, if that's the standard for sexiest man alive, I mean, if he's the sexiest man alive, then I am whatever comes after sexiest man alive, I'm that. And so is Apex. And so is Whiskey. And hell, I mean, that is a low bar for Fauci to be called sexiest man alive. But that is where everything is going. So I'm not really sure if Fauci is truly evil, or if he's just a government, or if he's just a puppet of the cabal. I lean more towards cabal puppet. I think he's more or less a nerd, but maybe I'm giving him too much of a benefit of the doubt here. I don't know, folks. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, folks. I really honestly don't. So that is pretty much the show for tonight. At least the the news part of it. But yeah. By the way, Bruce City, I'm sure that I'm sure that Brew clipped a whole bunch of stuff. Knowing Brew, she probably clipped the part where I laughed maniacally at Tucker making fun of Bill Gates. But that will never not be funny. Yeah, it just is funny. Anywho, so yeah, that concludes the news segment of tonight's show. So let's check in with the chat. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. I know we haven't covered this in a long time. I know we've been good. We've been kind of chugging along, doing politics and pop culture. But for a certain portion of the audience, what I'm about to talk about will it will resonate with some of you folks. For a long time now, for the vast majority of the year, folks, I have been, largely staying away from anything in regards to Owen Benjamin. I've more or less moved on from that idiot because that's what he is. He is a complete idiot and a complete moron of the highest order. But believe it or not, that idiot again is doing whatever he can to be newsworthy. And by God, he has, he has somehow managed to wriggle his way back into the news. And I just saw someone pop into the VC. So,
please tell me I sound normal.
You still sound like the Borg. Another donation. Boob Titty Sins has donated 666 towards your ring to that wife, Apex Grandma. Towards your ring to wife that Apex Grandma ass up. I'm not going to marry Apex. He's a good looking guy, but I'm not going to marry him. If I marry, well, there are a couple of ladies in this chat that I would marry. And I would most likely marry, Bruce City. Because she's awesome. And, she's extremely talented, and yeah, I mean, I'm Bruce City's main simp. What do you want from me? I'm not even going to deny that. You heard it here first, folks. So, but yeah, maybe we should try a seance to conjure up the voice of Apex. Yeah, well, who knows? Well, I mean, Apex already is. Apex and I have a bromance. That's what we have. We have a bromance of the highest order. And yeah, I mean, if his computer will let him, maybe, who knows? Maybe Owen Benjamin hacked his computer. I don't know. That could very well be it. But in the meantime, well, while I am waiting for him to get his stuff all set together, let's see. Some of you may be asking, well, Sam, if you don't want to talk to Owen Benjamin, why are you all of a sudden? Why is he newsworthy again? Let's see. Apex, are you there? Someone just popped into my VC.
Hello? What's up, Sam? It's Pat. Good boy.
Oh, hey, Keck Boy. Oh, wait. That's interesting. You're roboting too, so maybe it's something on my end.
Really?
Yeah. Let me try something, folks. I'm going to hang up from. I'm going to hang up from VC and sign out of Discord here. And let's see. Maybe that will fix things. All right, let's see here. Let me just try and call a. Oh. Ooh. Yeah, Apex's laptop just died. According to what he just messaged me, so that's nice. Let me try hopping into my VC again. Alright, so I'm in here, and apparently it was my fault the entire time. So, can he... Let's see.
How about now?
There we go.
Oh, okay, Boomer.
Well, everything was working. I don't know what Discord was fucking doing.
I've never heard anything quite like that. And true story, I shut my machine down, thinking, "Oh, I'll just restart. It's got to be me, right?" And then when it booted back up, I got the error message on my screen that said invalid system disk. Replace the disk and then press any key. I'm like, "Oh, that's good." So I just shut it down and closed it for a couple minutes, and opened it back up, and it fired right back up. I thought it was dead. But then I joined again, and I'm still fucking sounding like the Borg. But it was your fault all along, Sam. Everyone's making fun of me.
Well,
Sure.
what? We'll see.
As they should.
Well, see, Brew is being merciless. She's saying that you're my wife, but no, I say that you know.
Well, you would obviously be my wife, bitch. What are you talking? What's she talking about? You'd be my trophy wife with that awesome chair. I'd take you to all the nice places, babe.
Well, I mean, oh wow, that's totally not going to get clipped. So I'm here trying to simp for Brew and for Fella in a Meadow. And
the best way to simp for Brew, give her clips, Sam. Just LARP. It's just funny.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
And she is.
So anyway, now that what are you, an hour into the damn show?
Yeah, well, I got all the serious, I got the boring news.
I was gonna say, you mean boring, right? Yeah.
I got.
Well, it's good. It's good until you leaned on Tucker, is what I'll say. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I needed a drink, and I wouldn't say I leaned on Tucker, but just kind of. I paraphrased Tucker at the end, so I ended up saving it. But yeah, real quick. I mean, you and I talked off air, but were we as a collective not right about this entire thing?
Well, yeah, and I mean, as like I said off air, I don't like to think of it that way because it's not. There's so much to be right and wrong about to pick and choose the things that are just so publicly huge. What I keep thinking about, I'm not sure who I saw originally call it, but early on, while Trump was still president, somebody I feel like on Twitter was saying that this exact thing was going to happen, that Fauci was going to get popular, like you were saying a few minutes ago when I was still a robot, that Fauci can't let go of the popularity. He got the taste of the fame and etc. I don't really. I mean, that obviously could be very much the case, but it just seems to me more like it seems too likely that it was all so like so many other things, just kind of the plan, because now he did. I'm sure it's a little bit of both. He was put in place on purpose, and the emails and shit kind of prove at least that to a certain degree, at least. more so than we knew before the emails anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
but go ahead.
I mean, I guess I would just say I'm not really even sure if this is a hot take, but like people have always said, "Oh, well, Fauci is like an evil guy," and I'm like, no, I'm not sure if he is. He's just kind of like a guy who, is the puppet man, who is just like
He's
a puppet.
He's an idiot. Yeah, he's a dummy. He's a piece on the board, man. He's got credentials, and like everyone else, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, God only knows what motivations there were. I'm sure there was some evil intent on his part, but he's the sacrificial lamb at this. Oh my goodness! Oh God, that's scared. The cat is attacking my toes. It's not even supposed to be in my room, but the jam underneath, like the bottom of my door, is big enough that this tiny little 7-week-old potato can still squeeze underneath there. She makes.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry.
Fell in a meadow says, "Hey Sammy, I have a question. Lay it on me, you cute broad or fellow."
Or hermaphrodite.
Did you just call a fellow in a meadow a cute broad?
I did.
It's a fellow in a meadow.
I did. What are you gonna do?
Fellow in a meadow.
What?
I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm just clarifying that you.
You have a fetish for that kind of thing, Sam?
Yeah. What's going on there?
I think he's cute.
Oh, good stuff. What's the question? Do we have the question yet, or nay? Oh, goodness.
She/it might be prepping it. I don't know.
What the fuck, man? All right. So, while we wait for that question.
Yeah, so Owen time. We haven't talked about that fucker in forever.
Yeah, yeah. And go ahead, Keg.
Oh yeah, right. The one where Owen's talking about, they're calling him like the next Waco Ruby Ridge or some shit.
Ruby Ridge, yeah. I mean, it's in the same county. So
Yep.
Not a far. I read I did my first Owen video. Like, I mean, I even say in my little, I read the Daily Mail article, did like a 15-minute read of it. But at the very beginning, like I haven't talked about Owen like publicly in like well over a year, other than shut the fuck up, Sammy. I don't want to talk about, Owen. But it's like a slow-moving train wreck, and this isn't this Fauci shit. What you're talking about? This angle of we, the collective we, whatever that is really supposed to mean, and however you want to mean it. We're right about this whole global Fauci thing. You could scale that back a little bit, buddy, because the cult, the retreat, all this illegal and for like all this shit going on with Owen, that's been called for years by a much smaller group of people, much more precisely. You know what I mean? It's
yeah, by much more elite. I guess though, from my understanding, well, from people I've talked to, who I can't name, but like people I know who are, I wouldn't say they're feds, but they work for the government, have like asked me, "Hey, do you still follow that Owen Benjamin guy?" And so the public is starting to catch on to this weirdo, this unshaven weirdo who wants to start like a cult and is talking like, "Oh, we need to teach our kids to use guns and whatnot."
It kind of, from what I'm seeing, and I've, again, as I've said before, really busy. I don't have a lot of time to scroll through Reddit, but I've been trying for a change to see what's going on, and it kind of reminds me of Owen's behavior. It's like he did back in my clipping days. He was literally just reciting conspiracy, like 8-10-year-old conspiracy theories that you could find on YouTube. You know what I mean? And some of them were niche. He eventually had to go to them, but you could find his arguments verbatim in, again, 10-year-old conspiracy videos. So, I think it seems to me like he saw as all the talk about being bred to be a cult leader, the quote unquote jokes he would tell about being perfect, like the perfect brain for it or whatever, whatever all the stupid shit he would say about basically being a cult leader or being the perfect kind of person to be a cult leader. He saw that, I can't remember the name of the documentary, but the Rajneeshpuram cult in, oh shit, that's gonna bother. I was doing good. Anyway, the way they're just defying, that was in Oregon actually, back in the 80s. But they're defying like city code, and they're trying to flood this small county so that they can I mean, I could just see, the potential from here. But at this point, they've just made it into the Daily Mail, and people are driving there uninvited. And it's going to be fun. Alan has a new video. Have you watched that yet? We should play that for the audience.
Yeah, first off, I am addicted to Alan Powell's videos. Second off, when I called Felon and Meadow abroad, I meant it in the most affectionate.
Offensive, you meant.
Shut up, faggot. No, I meant in the most affectionate way. Okay, my grandfather, who bless his soul, is up in heaven now, used to use that word all the time. So he also, according to him, used to go to the Playboy Club in Chicago and reportedly picked up more bunnies than Hef did, but that could be my grandfather just on one of his wild stories, so who knows. But yes, Felon and Meadow is a very classy gentleman / lady / whatever. But anyway, yeah, Alan Powell is the greatest troll who ever lived. And let's see. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. Just couldn't hear audio, so I didn't know if Discord was messing up again. Let's see.
Can you imagine Owen running a cult or leading a cult?
Well, I can, because he has for the past couple of years.
No, I'm talking about like physically leading a cult, like at this combat. What's it called, Beartaria or New Bear City, where the fuck it's called? He's calling it.
Oh, Ursa Rio or whatever he's calling it.
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably do the same shit that Koresh and fucking Jones did with their cults. He's going to have it. He's going to be fucking the women, and he's going to fuck the teen girls. He'll come up with some excuse saying, "Oh, guys, God Bear told me to spread the seeds of Big Bear. That's why I'm fucking all these women."
Well,
and since he's such a it would not surprise me if he's going to go and screw the guys too. He says, "Guys, I have to assert my dominance. I'm the apex. I have to show him I'm the alpha."
Whoa! Hold up! Don't you slander my name like that. I'm sorry. No, but
but you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying.
Well, no. well, no, fat cake boy, you're missing one important thing. You're missing one critical thing. Owen wouldn't be banging the chicks. He would be banging all the dudes because
He already is doing that.
Because banging chicks is gay, according to him.
Boobs are gay, dude. Right.
And I fucking love tits. So there, Ellen. But anyway,
because you're a faggot, right? That's the implication.
I mean, if liking tits is gay.
Well, yeah, if tits are gay and you love tits, then in Owen's eyes you're a faggot. And by that, that's how that works. That's why you can so freely call me a faggot too.
Then I will fully admit it. But oh shit, our boy Alan is taking a road trip to Ursa Rio.
Yeah, that's what I was asking you about. If you saw that, have you not seen that? You need to play that for chat.
Not yet. So let me.
That's good.
Do you need me to send you a link, or have you already seen this?
I mean, I've seen it, but you could play it. You could share your screen, whatever.
Yeah, let me do that. Hold up a sec. Let me.
Sammy, I'm getting reports that this is cringe. So let's.
Hey, Sam, let me ask you your opinion. Do you think Fauci's going to resign, or is he going to be just like Cuomo and just not go anywhere?
He's probably not going to go anywhere, is my guess. And who's telling you that this is cringe, Apex? I want to know so I can.
It's a secret. I can't tell you. I'm just saying. It's publicly available information, but it's a secret.
Okay, whose feet do I need? Whose feet do I need to roll over? That's the question.
Whose toes do I need to break? Oh shit! No, let's just move on. Let's get get Alan going.
The next story.
We're gonna watch this Alan video because this is a genesis. I don't know how many. I'm sure many people in the audience, but I don't know how many are familiar with Alan's original trip to Ursa Manor. His little road trip where he drove around in his neighborhood with a GoPro facing him in the driver's seat, talking about how he's going to interview Owen and talk some sense into him, not going to hurt him or anybody. And it caused a whole bunch of shit to go down on this little corner of the internet. That's why merch sucks, or why it's what would help prove that merch sucks.
I mean, it's kind of like it's kind of lore at this point.
It absolutely is, yeah. So this one's even better.
So, and Saucin is here to mac on Brew. So now I have competition as well. But anyway, yeah. So Alan is driving to let's see.
Let him speak. Let Alan speak. He says it all.
He is driving to.
You've got your screen share or your camera shared, not your screen in Discord anyway.
No, I know.
Oh, okay. Okay, my bad.
Let me. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's right. We got it. All right, so let's go ahead and let me make sure that this is.
Look at how happy all three of them look. Just right there, right at the beginning. Look how happy they are.
Oh, cute doggies.
Yeah, so Alan is a legit dog walker. That is the one thing that I guess the box was right about, which amuses me. But yeah, let's see. So, this lovable weirdo is Alan Powell along with two doggies who... Alan, I want to know their names, bro.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, everybody? So, I've got great news. This is super awesome. Owen Benjamin has finally invited me and all the other bears to Ursa Rio. I guess Ursa Manor was a bad choice. I admit that now. But now he has formally invited me to come. You know, I'm going to help him build. I'm going to show him how to reload. I've got some skills that I can teach people that are very marketable. And, you know, I'm definitely going to be one of the bigger assets to that property. And I think it's going to be fucking great. So it should be taking me about 3 weeks to get there. It's kind of a long drive. You know, I'm coming all the way from Southern California. Owen already knows this. He's looked at my address. He actually, he messaged me once. He's like, is it cool if I come to your house? I was like, it's probably not a good idea. You know, you've got a family and kids and all that. So, but anyways. So, yeah, it's going to be great. I'm going to be picking up some other bears along the way. If you want me to pick you up, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 seats that can accommodate people other than myself. You're not going to be driving. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, if you want to contact me, make sure to you know, comment on this video. And if you're going to be on the 10, you know, that's the way I'm going to be taking to get to Arizona, through Arizona, and then beyond that, I'm not 100% sure. But you know, if you can get down to where you're crossing paths with me, I will pick you up and take you the rest of the way. That is a guaranteed promise. You can put my name on it. So yeah, Owen, I really thank you for finally coming to your senses and letting me come hang out and you know, show you my skills. And it's gonna be fucking awesome. Ursa, and I can actually help with the Mike Whelan thing. You know, the Kootenai Valley Times. You know, as someone that's dealt with controversy before, I can, you know, let's just say I can get him to shut the fuck up. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll be doing updates just like I said in my first video, but this time I'm going to follow through. You're going to be seeing me driving through Arizona, through Texas, up to Idaho, and this is going to be awesome. Hopefully we meet some new friends, and when we get there, we meet some even more new friends. Thanks again, Owen. Bye, everybody.
Oh
no. Okay, so just to clarify, he's starting in California, and it's going to take 3 weeks, and that's because he's going to be driving through Texas and Idaho, crisscrossing the long ways of the country back and forth, probably 3 times, picking up Sammy. You know, he'll be driving through Texas and Arizona to get to Sammy in Florida, and then, you know, weaving his way up. 3 weeks later, we'll all be there, you know, with cameras mounted.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I think I'm going to start an IP2 account, and we'll just live stream and get people to, you know, throw money at us to. I could probably do that.
I'm gonna
be retarded in public.
I'm gonna bring my I'm gonna get my bullhorn out of the garage, and I'm just gonna turn into full on Alex Jones with a bullhorn. So
that's not very chill, bro. We're trying to infiltrate and destroy.
Well, I mean, once
not just yell at from outside.
Once we're in Owen's compound and he's fully embraced us, I'll use the bullhorn like in front of his face, and he'll be like, dude, I'm right here, and I'll be like,
you can use. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be like, I know, but a bullhorn is fun.
Well, you could use the bullhorn after we modify your wheelchair to launch napalm at 360 degrees, in 5-second intervals, and you can laugh at them with the bullhorn as they burn to death or something.
Oh yeah, Bruce says don't forget to bring the internet cable For Owen. Well, I mean, Brew, you
Yeah.
can get that from Best Buy. I mean, we'll be picking you up too. So we'll be picking you up in Sawson. Actually, no. Alan will
Dawson's
Alan will pick
Dawson's
Alan will pick Sawson and I both up. So, but
she's a trained killer.
But yeah,
Anyway.
The Mike Whalens thing. So, did Owen like legitimately threaten an actual reporter? That I'm not like. I think that's what happened, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I thought I still had the article up, but whatever went on with my computer killed it. But I read the whole thing, and there was some follow-up articles as well. I didn't see what I know happened is the Bears, as they tend to do, reacted to Owen's words, and said a bunch of incendiary, inflammatory shit about that guy, and so they all, harassed the fuck out of him. I know that happened. I don't know to what extent exactly, but I know that was at least part of it. So, I mean, again, I think there's articles. I don't know where they all exist at this point. Hold on. But anyway, I don't know about like what what people construe as a threat. I don't think he made any actual physical threat to anyone personally, but as Owen likes to do, kind of, you know, you know, like I don't know, I can't think of it. Like faggots should all be fucking killed. They're degenerates. They're gay. They suck. They should all. They're killing the children. And this guy, this specific human being, is a faggot. He's one of these faggots that deserves all of these things. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not saying anybody should do nothing, but that's a little hyperbolic. But actually, not that really, not that much really, for some of the things he said. But yeah, it's that sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm sure if you tap digital. Well, I'm sorry, E. Michael Jonestown, or E. Michael Jim Jonestown. Fuck his new channel. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, E. Michael Jonestown.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm sure he's got. The juice on that. Let me see if there's anything specific.
Yeah. There's literally a 40-minute clip which I'm not going to play because it is cringe.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, he talked about the paramilitary force, and then it was a joke, and
yeah.
I mean, what I find. Go ahead.
And the paramilitary force is the real crux of the thing, at least from what I'm hearing. Because, and this is something I do want to emphasize, because after January 6th, people in Congress are, for better or for worse, I think it's retarded, honestly, but they're really paranoid about right-wing paramilitary people, and you have a fathead, as Felon Meta likes to call him, bragging about, "Hey guys, I want to start a militia." Yeah, do you think that's smart to be bragging it on the internet? No, not really. So
What I find especially fascinating though is like I have such a hard time even now watching any Owen clips. I can seriously barely stomach them, even with all this shit going on. And I'm curious what he actually says, because he's literally doing exactly the same thing he's always done. He talks and uses the same speech, trick, the little tricks that he does. I forget the fucking wizardry, effectively, but there was a specific term he called one thing. Anyway, he's doing the same shit, but he's been doing it for long enough, and he's gained enough traction, and it's gotten big enough that actual mainstream media outlets are starting to pay attention because it's getting enough. And I mean, if, like I speculated, and many other people speculated for years now, that if he doesn't just take an L publicly somewhere, he's gonna fucking, it's gonna be bad. Like, it's gonna go exactly like, or not, if not exactly, very close to what a lot of people have. I mean, I say a lot of people. It's just a lot smaller group than, Fauci's a liar type of we were right thing. You know what I mean? And this isn't good either, because the the perceived outcome is going to be like it's been so many other times, some sort of armed standoff with fucking feds that ends up getting people killed.
Yeah, no, make no mistake. None of us want this to happen, and I mean, I think that should be the point, kind of. Let's see. Did I lose? Oh, let's see. Oh no, I didn't lose you.
I'm here.
Oh.
Catboy left.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think any of this stuff is good. I just, like I said, I think it's fascinating that, like, people are kind of waking up to this. And by people, I mean normies are waking up and being like, geez, you're not kidding that this guy is crazy.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worse than that. And Johnny, what's up, Johnny, in the chat pointed out that Owen is like right back to where he was mentally before Vox swooped in. And that's it's kind of what yeah, exactly. He's right back to where he was. He's acting and behaving and reacting like he did for years, and the only lull point was when Vox was which I'm curious how that's going to go. What do you think? When's that fallout finally going to happen? That's another thing that's been speculated for a hot minute.
At this point, like, I've probably lost money on that because, like, I think I betted last year that it was going to happen, and it didn't. But, I mean, shoot. I mean, I don't know, man, because, like, honestly, I mean, I would think that Vox would be smart enough to cut ties with Owen. And honestly, I'm surprised he hasn't already, to be honest. But I think eventually Owen is going to do something so stupid that Vox has to cut ties with him.
I was going to say, Vox, I saw something on Reddit I wasn't able to read, but I actually got a notification for it that Vox finally addresses Owen something, and Sawson in the chat says that fallout happened. In her opinion, it was quiet. She says quite, but I'm sure she means quiet. I'm quite sure that she means quiet.
Yeah, well, I don't pay attention to the bald, to the skinny bald guy either, who claims that he was, like, on an Annie Lennox tour in the 90s, but wasn't. So, let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Johnny, watching the Jojo Jones clip a couple of years ago reminded me of when Owen was begging. Oh yeah, well he does that like every 3 years. So, or no, every year now basically. He just begs people not to leave. It doesn't surprise me at all, really. So,
all right. So yeah, Owen is behaving exactly as he has always behaved. There's really nothing new to report other than that. and the Daily Mail art, and he's getting some mainstream attention.
There's nothing to report other than that, like, interns I know on the Hill and other people I know on the Hill are talking about it. That's what fascinates me, is that.
Yeah, well, sure, and that's good to make note of. But again, we can't pontificate on this Owen shit. It's easy to get lost on it. We have anything else specifically that you would like to talk about? I'm trying to.
I mean, I covered the Fauci thing. That was the main thing. That was like the big thing this week in terms of the news that everyone was hoping I would talk about. I mean, Johnny was also right about Fauci too. So Johnny's 2 for 2 this week. But then again, the Fauci.
We all were. I mean, hold on. We all were 2 for 2.
Yeah.
We, quote unquote.
The royal we, man.
Right? The proverbial we, the royal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm not Jeffrey Lebowski. I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, okay? That or his doodliness, or El Duderino if you're into the whole brevity thing.
Right.
So I've been watching. I watched The Big Lebowski earlier this week too, folks. Great movie if you haven't seen it, but I'm assuming most everyone here has because you guys are cultured that way. So, but I don't have anything else on my docket. Do you, Apex? Anything I missed?
No.
Alrighty then. Let's wrap this bitch up then, shall we? So thanks for tuning in, everyone, and listening to my hot take on Fauci, and thank you, Apex, for coming in and co-hosting, even if it was a little later. So
well, thank you for making me think my fucking laptop exploded, sir. Boomer motherfucker.
I mean,
thank you for having me. Thank you, chat, for calling me gay and all the other nice things. Appreciate all of that. Love you guys. Have a good one. We'll see you soon.
Thanks to Brew for inevitably clipping this, and everyone, thanks for tuning in. From all of us here at NGC, good night, God bless, God save this great nation, and as Mr. John Neary would say, God, freedom, legacy in that order, and I will talk at you down the road. Good night, everyone.
Kill yourself.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.